Since 2020, we've had a lot of different conversations around what are essentially fake work terms and concepts, including lazy girl jobs and quiet quitting and even the great resignation, which data mostly showed not to be true all in. Quiet quitting probably got the most attention and the most CNBC segments, which is funny because it's not really a new thing at all. It's just like a regression to the mean. Most corporations tend to underpay you, and quiet quitting was just basically if you make 90K, you do 90K worth of work. You don't go above and beyond and do 150K worth of work because they're probably not going to pay you that. Now, some saw that as slacking, and perhaps it is, but in reality, it's just how people have worked for generations. They regress to the compensation mean. I ain't got time for this shit. Well, a few years ago, it dawned on me that quiet quitting applies more to marriage as a concept than it does to work. I wrote an article about this, which I'll link in the description. I've actually written a lot about marriage and relationships since 2021, so if you're curious about my personal bona fides on it, I have essentially none. I was married from 2013 to 2017, and I've been married again since 2020. I don't have kids because I think my wee-wee doesn't work properly, and according to guys like Matt Walsh, no kids means I can't even speak on marriage and relationships, but I'm going to do so anyway. So if you think about quiet quitting in the context of marriage, I would actually say it's normative. You spend X amount of time with a person, and through certain behaviors of theirs, you realize you can't control or change them, try as you might, so you become resigned to certain things. Maybe that's about cleaning, dishwasher, doing the laundry. Maybe it's about going to the bar Sunday for NFL when someone claims to be working. Maybe it's about sex. I'd argue that's the thing it's most about for a lot of people. So, on marriage, a lot of times I come back to this opinion piece from New York Times. I think it was 2022 on 50-50 custody arrangements. I'll link it below. And specifically this section, which I'll now endeavor to read aloud. It starts, and remember, a husband who packs the kids' lunches isn't helping his wife. He's parenting his children. A husband who does the laundry every other week isn't doing a chore for his wife. He's actually being an adult. My 50-50 co-parenting mom friends confirm that for the first time ever, they feel their ex-husbands are doing their fair share. As divorced dads, they are forced, not via wifely nagging, not by a couples therapist, but by law and necessity, to manage a household to take care of both their children and themselves. Now, this part really slaps. Every divorced woman I know is happier post-marriage, even the ones who didn't instigate or want the split initially. This is not unusual. A 2007 study found that women aren't as negatively affected as men by a divorce. Despite women being likely to experience a more significant dip in income, the researchers found that in the first years post-divorce, life satisfaction is significantly more positive for women than for men. And last paragraph here. It has been intuited, nice word, by both my group chats and proved by research that household inequities can lead to domestic despair. One study asserted that couples' division of household labor have serious consequences for relationship quality. Unequal housework allocations are associated with depression, marital dissatisfaction, and divorce. These unequal allocations tend to favor men, as you'll be unsurprised to hear. The researcher Bridget Schulte has pointed out that just having a man in the house tends to increase the load for women. Partnered mothers do more housework and childcare than single mothers. Alright, again, I'll link that in the description. I feel like that whole section speaks to the concept of quiet quitting within a marriage. Men tend to, and this is a generalization, but they tend to quit on things related to domestic responsibilities in the name of being a provider or being a man, which is maybe part of why we need new definitions of masculinity. Women sometimes quit on being engaged with the guy, conversationally, sexually, or otherwise. And honestly, both parties can quietly quit into a life of mapping their kids' activities, watching Netflix, and half-hearted Chardonnay-inspired sex, with the most passion coming in a bi-weekly Costco conversation about different protein options. We all know this to be true. We've all seen it in our friends. We've seen it in ourselves. It does happen. It's life. marriage and relationships are fucking hard. They're beautiful, but they're hard. So, doesn't it make more sense that people quiet quit marriages as opposed to jobs? And in this vein, how many times have you heard, be it on Dateline or just from a friend of yours, that someone stayed in it for the kids or stayed in it for the lifestyle? Well, if you're only married because of the kids, even if you made that decision when your youngest kid was 5, isn't that a form of quiet quitting? Alright, so answer me that if you feel so inclined. Do you think that we quiet quit marriages? Is that a logical concept?